All right, so we have done so much in this app. We have created our movies page. We added navigation. Here we can see the details about the movie. We also published an API. However, our home page is broken. So if we head over here, we get a page not found. So at the beginning of this section, just after we created our Django project, we had a beautiful homepage here. What happened to that? Well, Django displays that automatically until we register a new URL pattern. So here in our main URLs module, initially we only had this admin URL pattern. The moment we register a new URL pattern, Django stops displaying that default homepage. And the HTML for that homepage is not stored anywhere in this project. So we need to manually create a new homepage. And that's pretty easy. Let me show you. So here in our vidly folder, let's add a new file, views.py. In this module, we're going to define a view function called home that takes a request. And here we simply render a template and return it. So on the top first, from Django.shortcuts, we need to import the render function. And then here we return render. As the first argument, we pass our request. Then as the template, we pass home.html. And here we don't need to pass a context object because we're not going to display any data on our homepage. So delete. Now we need to map this view function to a URL endpoint. So back to our URLs module. First, we need to import our views module. So from the current folder, let's import views. Next, we add a new URL pattern. So path. We pass an empty string to represent the homepage. We map this to views.home. Okay. Now finally, we need to create the template. Here we have two options. One option is to add the templates folder in this vidly folder, just like how we added templates to our movies app. But if we do so, we should also register this folder as an app in settings.py, because by default, this is not registered as an app. It kind of looks like an app, but it's not an app. So if you look at settings.py, here in the list of installed apps, we don't have an app that represents vidly. So if you want to register this as an app, we need to add a configuration class, just like the movies and API apps. So we need to add a file called apps.py, and in that file, we need to create a class called vidly config. After we install the vidly app, Django will be able to find the templates in this app. Okay, so this is one option. The other option is to put all these general templates like homepage, about page, contact page, and similar pages inside the main templates folder in this project. The approach to choose is more of a personal preference. I personally have tried both, and sometimes I go back and forth between these two approaches, but there's really no practical differences between these two approaches. Yes, we can sit down and argue for 1 hour about the differences between these approaches at a theoretical level. But in practice, these arguments are useless. So to keep things simple, I'm going to add our home template in the main templates folder. So new file, home.html. Now here, first we need to extend our base.html template. Then we need to define a block called content. And in this block, I simply want to add a link to our movies app. So let's add an anchor with href set to. And here we're going to use the URL template tag. So URL, enter. What is the URL that we want to render? Well, that is movies:index. So once again, we are referencing a URL by its name. Save the changes. And it's better to indent this to make it cleaner. And one last thing before we test the result, let's add a label here, movies. Now save the changes back in the browser. So here's our new homepage. I know it doesn't look fascinating, but it gets the job done. So we can navigate to the movies page and see the list of movies.